In this video, I'm going to show you how you can transform your existing AI site or app and update the design to look much more professional and give you that $10,000 website feel using Stitch, Nano Banana, and Claude. I was able to take our existing TS wait time website that we built in the previous video right here and transform it into this. And overall, I think it looks a lot better. We were able to add this 3D spinning globe asset to the background of the homepage, which just made it much more engaging. And we overhauled the site, the design styles, the colors. We turned it into dark mode, all in about 20 minutes using Stitch, Claude, and Nano Banana. So let's jump in. This right here is our current site. Overall, it looks okay. However, it does have a little bit of that generic AI feel that you get whenever you're developing with Claude or any other AI tool. A lot of the websites that have a very similar design feel, and the elements that they use are easily spotted to be identified as an AI site versus something that someone has put thought and time into. So what we want to do in this video is overhaul the site, give it a more modern feel, and make it look a lot more professional. So we're going to use Stitch to do that. So Stitch is basically a Google AI tool that allows you to create designs for websites, apps, etc. What I've done is basically uploaded these two screenshots here of the homepage into Stitch. So what I did was come into Stitch and I basically uploaded the two screenshots of my site that you can see here. So I uploaded them into Stitch. I selected web. And what I did, because I'm redesigning a website, I used Nano Banana Pro to come up with the initial design. So I asked it for 4 different designs. So I selected Nano Banana Pro. If you're designing a website from scratch, you might just want to use Thinking with 3.1 Pro and get some design ideas that you can then utilize and have Claude utilize those designs to build out your app. But in this case, we already have our application. We're looking to overhaul it. So I did redesign. I uploaded my 2 images and then I give it a prompt. So my prompt here was, I want to redesign this website with a much more modern, updated feel while preserving the existing content and UX. Don't change the layout. And it gave me back these 4 different designs right here. I'm a big guy for dark mode and I'm leaning towards this initial one. But you can see that they look a lot more professional. I'm not a big fan of this one right here. It looks a little bit too clinical. Not a fan of this one either. It's too bubbly. It looks maybe like 2000s web design. But 1 and 3, I think, look pretty damn good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this first option, the glass morphism TSL wait times. I think it looks cool. It has this nice background. I think we can probably do some animation with that as well to make it look a little bit more modern. So what I'm going to do is select this glass morphism option, and you can see that it selects it right here in this prompt section. I'm going to say create the design files for this option, and I'm going to change it to Thinking with 3.1 Pro. And I'm going to click Generate. And it will start working in the background now to create this design and create the actual design files that you can then use in Claude. While we're waiting on that, I'm just going to remove some of these other options. We don't need them on sort of our page here. So now we can see our original design and the new design that we're going for. Now we have our actual design files right here, and it definitely doesn't look exactly like the glass morphism TSL wait times one. So you can see here that it's a little bit more blocky. It doesn't have the sort of outer glow on each of these, but I do think it still looks a lot better than our original design. So we want to kind of work with the prompt here to make it look closer to what we have in the original sort of Nano Banana generated option. Basically what I've said to it is, can you add the same world glow glass morphism image that we see here behind the text, behind the search, and add the outer glow like feature that we have in this project. So I've basically linked to this image that we have right here. You need to make sure that you're selecting the page that you actually wanted to work on. So you can see here, this is linked to this page. And I'm going to click Generate. As it didn't have sort of the glow look to it in this version right here, I asked it to add that, and you can see it's added it to the top banner. It hasn't added it down to these. It doesn't look exactly like the Nano Banana design, but you're not always going to get that. Nano Banana is generating an image, so it's a little bit harder for it to create that in HTML. We also don't have this globe in the background, but we're going to add that in a minute once we import this to Claude. But right now, what we're going to do is then take these design files. So I'm going to select this, and what we also want to do is select down here our design style. So if you haven't used this already, you can double click on this and basically change any of the colors, fonts, buttons, etc. that you have. So just come over on the right hand side to this panel, and if you wanted to change the primary colors to secondary colors, you can update that in here. Click save, and then that will also update on your actual design file that it's linked to. But what we need to do now is import this into our project in Claude. So you want to select this, select the page that you're going to use. And then you also want to select your design files, as we will need them. And if you click export up here in the top right, we're going to download this as a .zip file, and we're going to export it right here. Going to allow that download. So when we have these design files, we need to then add them into our project in Claude. So I'm going to open up anti-gravity here, which is where I've been working on the project. So what we need to do now is grab our Stitch download, and we need to import it into Claude. So I've unzipped the folder here, and what I'm going to do is just drag this into our project. I'm going to say add a folder to workspace, and I'm going to allow, yes, that's fine. And now we can see in here, we've got our Stitch folder with our, basically got our code, our design markdown file, and a screenshot of the website. So you can see here in the design markdown file, it basically gives an overview of the design theme so that Claude can reference this. So now we want to open up Claude, and we want to get it to reference these design files to recreate the theme on the website. So basically what I'm going to say here is I have added design files that I created in Stitch to the Stitch folder in this project. Please use these design files to update the design of the site. So it's then going to go ahead and reference those design files and should start updating the website. So let's take a look at that in a minute once it updates and see what we're looking like actually on the local version of our website. As you can see, it's now starting to work through and update these. So it's basically went through our full file structure, identified any files that need updated, and it's starting to work through each of these steps right here. So we'll let this complete and see what it looks like once it finishes up. So Claude has now finished updating the website, and as you can see here, it's looking pretty nice. We've got this nice glow effect. We do even have this animation effect in the background here. It has made some mistakes while updating that we will need to fix. So you can see up here it says TSA Pulse. That's not the name of our site, so we need to update that back to TSA wait times. And if we scroll down, there's a few differences. So if we look over in anti-gravity and look at the actual screenshot that we provided Claude, let's zoom in here. One of the things that's not present currently is this wait time and sort of the status bar of that wait time. So I'm going to see if we can add that in. I would like that to be added in there. And then also, if we look again on the actual airport pages, so if we look at Orlando here, we can see that there's this box around the live wait time. I do like this chart. I think it looks a lot better than what we previously had. I like these little highlights here of the green 4 minutes, 50 minutes is in red. And we've got the TSA pre-check. So I think this looks really nice. I think it looks definitely a lot better than what we started with. But let's fix this box and see if on the home page we can actually go ahead and get those status bars updated as well. So what I've said here is airport cards currently don't show the wait time bar. Update this so that it has the bars like the reference. We don't need the pre-check on these cards, and on the airport page is a solid color box around the wait time number. So remove this so it looks fluid. So let's go ahead and let it do those updates and see if we can get those fixed. The airport cards and the wait time should now be updated. So let's take a look in Chrome here. So if we scroll down and do a refresh on these, let's see what they look like. You can see now they have the wait time, so 20 minutes. These ones are 11 minutes. We don't have any that are sort of in the red right now, so we're not seeing the red, but I'm imagining that will work as well. And then let's click on Orlando here again, and it hasn't fixed this. So let's take a screenshot of this and get it to fix it. What I'm going to do is actually just take this screenshot, and I'm going to highlight exactly what I want it to reference right here. So let's click done on that and then provide that to Claude right here. So I'm going to upload that file from my computer. So hopefully that should fix it now. This still is a solid box around it. Let's take a look, and we now have it. It looks pretty clean right there. So I think we're pretty much good to go, but I did want to add one more feature to the website. Let's actually update the name here while we're at it as well. So just change the name from TSA Pulse back to TSA Wait Times, and it should apply that globally across the site. And then the last thing I want to do is on this, you know, in the actual designs that we originally had over here, we had this like nice glow or globe effect behind the text. So I want to add something like that. I'm going to ask Claude to actually see if it can find me an asset that looks similar. So what I'm going to do is just take a screenshot of this right here, and I'm going to provide this to Claude and see if it can find something like that. I wouldn't even mind just like an actual 3D globe in the background. I think would look pretty cool. So let's grab this, provide it to Claude right here. Hopefully that has changed the name as well, but let's upload this file and get it working on this. I want to add this globe-like effect in the background. Can we add some sort of 3D globe asset that glows subtly in the background, similar to the reference photo? And send that, and then we'll see what it comes back with. So Claude has actually went out, it's found a library that has these globe assets here. It's installed that library, and now it's installing it on the homepage. You can see here, now I need to add the globe as a dynamic import and place it behind the hero content. So in a couple of seconds here, we should have that globe there, and hopefully looking pretty nice. So it's come back with this. It has like this 3D globe in the background. You can see these dots on it, which are obviously trying to represent the airports. But I think what I'd prefer is just to have this as an actual world globe and then remove those dots from it. I also don't like how this is getting cut off at the bottom, so I don't want that to get cut off. I think we should move the globe up a little bit. So we've asked it to stop it from cutting it off at the bottom there as well, and hopefully it removes those dots, adds the world map, and we get a nice looking globe. And I think that should be us pretty much finished. So we've now made those updates. Let's take a look. And if we refresh this, hopefully we get sort of remove those dots. We see the globe. So it looks like it's still getting cut off at the bottom. We can now see the world map in the background. So I think we want to make that a little bit more prominent. And then we still need to fix this cut off at the bottom. Perfect. So it's now showing this globe in the background. It has that animation effect where it's sort of spinning around the globe. We also have on there the world map. It's showing sort of subtly in the background. You could bump up sort of the brightness of the countries so that you could see them a little more clearly, but I like the sort of subtle effect that we currently have here, and you can see it, you know, scrolling around the bottom. And it stopped it from cutting it off here. So I think that's pretty much it for this video. Now all I need to do is push this live to RealWise. So I would just ask Claude to upload this or push this to GitHub, and we're pretty much done. So hopefully this video, you know, sort of give you some ideas on how you can use Stitch, Nano Banana, and 3D assets that Claude can find for you. You can also find them online at CodePen and other websites like Dribble. You can find these animations that you can then use in your projects. But hopefully it sparks some ideas for you to go ahead and improve your website. Let's take a look just before we go one final time at the airport page, so you can see how that looks as well. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe for more AI tips and tricks. I'll see you in the next one.